The Peugeot family may soon need a bailout even after writing down the book value of its plants by more than €4 billion. So says Breakingviews. Joining me is Edward Harras. There are various bits to this, aren't there, Edward? I mean, there's the write-down, there's this talk of the French government maybe taking a stake, there's the GM alliance, and then there's traders or analysts saying, look, it actually doesn't make any difference to the cash position because it doesn't involve cash.
Right. Okay, all of those things are true. Let's start at the beginning. Peugeot is a troubled company, which is not surprising because it has relatively high concentration in Europe among all the car makers, and its concentration is in the weakest markets, Spain, Italy, and France.
Yep.
That's been true for years. That has led to a very large cash burn, so they're losing money, and their position looks pretty precarious. That, in turn, has led to an accounting write-down. They've written down a chunk of their assets on the theory that right now they're not very profitable, and the French accounting watchdog has said you must write down your assets if they're not really profitable so that the return on assets is appropriate. So far so good. The only problem is that cash burn and that weak position means that they're actually likely to be in trouble, and then we get back to the GM alliance.
Yeah.
So how are they going to get out of trouble? Well, they have two sources of help. One is General Motors, where they have an alliance in several parts of the world, and the other is the French government.
And the French government, it's interesting because they've said, look, talk about taking a stake is not on the agenda. They've said that this morning. I think I've got to say that. At the same time, the budget minister, and this is a quote, this company must not and cannot disappear, and we must do what it takes for this company to survive. They're going to get the backing if they need it, let's face it.
They will get the backing if they need it, but I suspect that the EU will also have something to say about it. And so I think we will end up with a triumph. That is to say, the French will be able to say our car company has survived, but quite likely much smaller or combined, quite possibly with GM's Opel division in Europe. The problem in Europe is very simple.
Yeah.
There's too much capacity.
Exactly. And I think, having spoken to a number of automakers recently who are trying to make way in this market, Peugeot's admission that this market is going to remain tough even after 2015 is the one that really hit the markets.
Yeah, I mean, everyone knows that. It's good, though, that Peugeot should say it. It means that probably we're getting a bit closer to this thing that's been... Well, I've been watching this market since 1989, and I think for more than half of that time, there's been a problem with surplus capacity, low profits, low utilization, low prices, and there's just a problem of no one wanting to be the first to cut out production.
Yep.
And at some point this will happen. The French government's attitude that we need two French car companies isn't hugely helpful.
Do you remember the ad? The lion goes from strength to strength?
Yeah, the lion crippled with thorns in its paw moves from weakness to weakness.
You should be in advertising, Edward.
The arthritic lion.
Your words, not mine. We're going to end it on that, the arthritic line. All right, Edward, thanks a lot for that. Edward Harras of Breakingviews. If you want to watch the US show every day, 12:30 Eastern, 17:30 GMT, I'm Axel Throttle. This is Reuters.